Okay, so let's get back to where we were. So at this point now, once we've thought about what the theory suggests, that taken together they can give you a good understanding of a canvas, so to speak, or a person's level of motivation. So what we're going to do for the rest of the time is consider these various theories that you read about and what they can suggest in big picture terms about how to motivate you given you're unmotivated in your internship role. Okay, so let's start with Maslow. First of all, Maslow is not without his critics, but I did want to introduce his theory because it is absolutely broadly understood and considered applicable to motivation from a practical perspective in spite of its empirical limitations. So if you remember correctly, and again, you should know, for example, for the purpose of the test, all 5 of these levels. And remember, these are a hierarchy, and the needs move from lower to higher. His theory suggests that you can't meet higher level needs until the lower level needs or the need preceding that is met. So for example, at a base level, you have a set of physiological needs: breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. And there's no chance that before those are met, you will even start to care about the whole love or belonging needs. According again to Maslow, he's not without his critics, but still. So the idea again is ideally your physiological needs will all be met before you move up this hierarchy. Then comes a matter of safety and security, health, employment, property, family, and social stability, love and belonging, friendship, intimacy, sense of connection, self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others, the need to be an individual, and self-actualization. The self-actualization piece is very tricky, and arguably we work, if we're able to get to that level, throughout our entire lives to try and meet it. And it's up to us, ideally, to try and self-actualize. But the idea is, can you untap and fulfill all of the creativity and capability that you have as a human being? So can you live up to your fullest life potential? And the question is, can an organization or a manager, your manager in this case, help you to fulfill that need at its highest level? The goal, so if a manager is looking to apply this theory, he or she, let's just say, for the sake of it, she, let's label your manager as a she for simplicity of pronoun. Say she's trying to figure out, okay, well, what's going on with you? And she has to think, okay, well, to what extent are your needs being met in this context? So let's say for the sake of it, you've actually said that you really need health benefits because you have asthma, and ideally you'd like that to be paid for by the internship. And her comment, initially the company doesn't have a health benefits policy for interns. So maybe that's why you're unmotivated, because you can't really operate on a very strong level at work when the fact is something so base as your health needs are not being met. So she might think, okay, well, what can I do to get you onto some sort of health plan at the office? Okay, so say for the sake of it, all this is met, the lowest level needs. Then she could look at love and belonging, intimacy, the degree to which you feel connected to the organization through friendship, camaraderie, intimacy. And it may be the company culture is one that is very dispassionate, disjointed, people work in isolation. And let's say even for the sake of it, your job is very isolated, that as an executive administrator, although you get to talk to a lot of people on the phone and forward them to your executive, her, that you don't really get to be connected with a lot of people at work. Your office is relatively isolated from everybody else, and you're not involved actively, or you haven't even been invited to the company picnics or other outings. So maybe she might ask you more, how you could become better connected to the group. Maybe she should move your office, say your desk, to the main floor where other people are around you. And by how you can get better connected to the office in that way, through proximity to people. Or maybe she needs to make sure that you get on the company softball team if you like softball or basketball, whatever it is. And then self-esteem. And by the way, I won't go too into any of these, but the idea is you have to understand the theory and what it suggests. So to go to self-esteem, for example, the idea is we want to feel good about ourselves intrinsically, and we want extrinsic, some sort of motivation, satisfaction, meaning do other people outside of us respect us, recognize our achievements? Do we feel good about those achievements that we have at work? And maybe your boss has never recognized you, has never really said, I think you're doing an excellent job, and I really value what you do here. So maybe she needs to look at herself in that case. And then finally, self-actualization. Again, it's very difficult to self-actualize throughout life, but perhaps she can redesign your job, which we'll get to later, so that you get more experience of purpose and total creativity in that particular context. So let's say, for the sake of it, that as an executive assistant and an intern, all you're really doing is fielding calls and forwarding them to her, figuring out how to handle her schedule. But here you are as a business finance major. You're in a financial services firm. So you're not doing any of the very attractive stuff like researching companies, researching funds, whatever research analysis. You're not getting involved in anything that you're going to school to learn. So you have gained all these skills, created all these skills that you're not utilizing. So she has to think, well, maybe what can I do there to help him unleash more of his potential? So that is what Maslow suggests your boss should do to help you. And I could have gone much more into detail on these, but I, for the sake of it, wanted to be simplistic. Okay, how about the motivational drives article, the Harvard Business Review article I had you read? What does it suggest that she should do to help you? Well, the motivational drives at its core is really about you as a human being, the person-specific level motivation. Both Maslow and this motivational drives article it's mostly person-specific in terms of its description. So as an example, Maslow describes your needs. Motivational drives are, quote, innate drives that you have to acquire, bond, comprehend, and defend. The essence of acquisition or acquire is that you want things, for example. And it could be that you want things, you want recognition, you want to acquire as part of your being. And so the question for her is, how can I better help you acquire? So the primary mechanism for that is the reward system. So literally, maybe she could give you more money. She could give you the health benefits that you want. She could give you recognition, which is acquiring recognition. So it's very broad in its term, but we want things is the essence of this base drive. So in the article describes things like make sure you pay as well as your competitors, tie rewards clearly to performance, and sharply differentiate good from average or poor performers. So maybe there are 4 other executive interns, and you are by far the best, but your performance is not, your compensation is neither differentiated from theirs sharply, nor is it as good as the competitors of this company's competitors for interns. So say you're making like $10 an hour, and the companies down the street are offering their interns 15, and for that matter, you're much better than the other people in there as an executive intern. So in the vein of this drive that we have to acquire, the reward system is the primary lever through which she can meet your need to your drive. So she could try and think how to help you acquire. Let me see, I'm going to talk just a little bit more, and then I'm going to pause and go on to the next. Actually, why don't I stop here? I'll get back to bond in the next video.